Congresswoman Kim Schrier, who joins us from Issaquah. Congresswoman, good morning to you.
Good morning, Brandi.
I appreciate your ability to pivot. I was supposed to be with you in Issaquah. We're going to talk about a return to school with COVID. Called you about an hour ago amid this breaking news. And I will also warn you, Congresswoman, we're waiting on that Pentagon briefing, so I'll let you know if that begins while we're chatting here. First, your reaction to this news out of Kabul this morning, ma'am.
Well, obviously, this is devastating, and it is exactly what we have feared all along. In fact, my nightmare scenario has been that exactly this would happen at all of the gates of the airport, and this is what terrorists do. ISIS-K is a terrorist group, and they look for areas where people are gathered, whether that is a market or a hotel or the airport. And this was absolutely an understandable target for them, and it is devastating and heartbreaking. The whole procedure of getting people out of Afghanistan has been fraught.
Congresswoman, we are awaiting a briefing from the White House. What would you like to hear from the president this morning?
Well, I think all of us want clarification on what happened. I think we'd like to know if there's actionable intelligence for what more may come. And I would love to hear how he and his cabinet are weighing the risk to our troops, the risk to Afghans, versus the imperative that we have, the moral imperative to bring home Americans and to bring home those Afghanis who stood by us and helped us and worked with our military for 20 years in Afghanistan. And they all have targets on their backs. And this is a very difficult situation. And these are calculations that are going to be nearly impossible to make.
Just to be clear, do you believe the president should extend the August 31st deadline for evacuations?
Well, here's what I can tell you, Brandi. I do not believe it is practical to get everybody out who we need to get out before the 31st, especially if our military also has to be out by the 31st. And I can tell you that in a classified briefing to Congress, there was widespread, I might even say unanimous, bipartisan support for extending that deadline, because we all feel that that weight of that responsibility to bring our allies home, to bring women, diplomats, journalists, special immigrant visa holders home. They stood by us, and we need them to be safe. And the reality is that as long as they are there under Taliban control, they are absolutely not safe. So I would like to see that extended. I understand the risks that every day we are there, the risk increases.
So when you say there was nearly unanimous support in this briefing for extending the August 31st deadline, why has the president not been willing to budge then? Does he know something you don't know?
Brandi, I would imagine that he knows plenty of things we don't know. I would imagine that there is very sensitive diplomacy happening, and that every day there are discussions. I would imagine that every day there are discussions with the Taliban, who they are negotiating with, to see how many they can get out and how long they can extend this. And frankly, Brandi, if they were to announce that we were staying past August 31st, that would put our troops and Afghanis all at heightened risk, even higher than it is right now. And so I think we should stay tuned, and I look forward to hearing more.
Let me ask you this on a personal level. Has your office heard from constituents with family members still in Afghanistan? Is your office, I know each office has a constituent services, is there any way that you're helping facilitate the evacuation of Afghans?
Yeah, our office has been incredibly busy. We have about 50 cases right now, Americans, legal permanent residents, people who have connections to Afghanis who we need to get out. They're working hard. Those 50 cases represent about 200 people. We are having some successes. We got a new case just yesterday. I would encourage anybody who needs help, who lives in my district, to contact our office, contact your member of Congress. We do get that information to the State Department. When they know where you are, they will find you. This is an incredibly volatile situation, but our office is working hard. We are having successes. And I can tell you also that there is just a a very heavy weight in my office among all of us. We talk every day about the situations that these families are in and how important we understand it is to get them all out.
Last question for you, Congresswoman. Two members of the Democratic delegation took an unplanned, unauthorized trip to the airfield in Kabul. There were reports that the White House was not happy about it, but they're both veterans. They wanted to see what was happening firsthand. Do you believe that it was wise for them to go there?
Two veterans who are now members of Congress, one Democrat, one Republican, decided to take it upon themselves and go. I think that was a very bad situation. I think it's a distraction. I think it is an increased security risk, and that we have journalists and others on the ground who can keep us apprised. I think that was not a wise decision.
Oh, you're right. And thank you for correcting me. One Democrat, one Republican. Congresswoman, we appreciate your time this morning. I know we were supposed to talk about school getting back in session with COVID. I just want to ask you one question on that, if I could quickly, while we're waiting for this Pentagon briefing. Do you believe, with the Delta variant increasing, that we're going to be able to have a normal school year, as normal as possible, with kids in the classroom, not at home?
Well, look, Brandi, my goal as a mom and as a pediatrician is to have our children in school. We have learned a lot over the past 18 months. Delta presents new challenges, definitely heightened challenges, but we also know that the same ways to keep our children safe, if we implement them all, we can keep children safe in school, we can keep our schools open, we can avoid quarantines, and that means universal masking. It means vaccinating everybody who is eligible to be vaccinated. It means having surveillance testing. Remember, some kids, many children, don't even show symptoms and they can spread this disease. So having a routine testing schedule at schools will also keep them safe. And of course, having everybody around them vaccinated and being smart in how we conduct ourselves outside of school, all of those things together will help ensure that our children can be in school safely and that our schools can remain open. It's critical.
All right, Congresswoman Kim Schrier outside Clark Elementary in Issaquah for us this morning. We appreciate that. And please, please, please thank members of your staff who are working with constituents. We know that that can be a thankless job. We know they're very busy right now trying to help people on the ground in Afghanistan. So please give them our thanks from us here.
I will, of course, and of course, my thanks goes out to all of our men and women who have served so nobly in Afghanistan for the past 20 years, and that they are on our minds every day as well.
Congresswoman Schrier, thanks so much.